my name is Allison Green, and I'm about to talk about my chair yoga intervention tool. So I was at Danville State Hospital, and my client had paranoid schizophrenia. So this led him to not be very social. He would always stay in his room, and he was on a unit that, since he was not social and stayed in his room, people targeted him and they broke his hand. So right now he has a prefabricated split on our new unit. He enjoys sports, he enjoys exercising, he enjoys chess, and he enjoys folding laundry. So because of all of this, I thought it'd be nice to make the chair yoga group. And it also helped the group in general because they all have, some have anger issues, so this could be a good mindfulness or coping strategy. And a lot of times, since they're older, since I'm on the co-ed geriatric unit, they all kind of just sit around in the hallway and sit in their chairs, so they're not getting good posture, they're not getting good support for their joints. So this would be a good way for them to stretch out and honestly feel better, because when you stretch your body, you release different endorphins. It makes your whole day happier, which will then make the mood of everybody in the whole hospital even better. So to talk about the activity, so it's a big group. So the group starts out, it's called Tell Me Something Good usually. So what we do is we have a picture, and we go around and kind of show everybody the picture. On this one, it's kids doing yoga. And I would ask them, what do you see? And they would kind of say what they see, and then if no one guesses yoga, I would tell them that it's yoga, or if somebody did, I would congratulate them, and then ask if they've ever done yoga or how they know about it. And then we'll go through that and explain the picture. And then we move on to an article. So the article is usually about something that's good that happened in the world. It can be philanthropic, it can be about someone beating an illness. And the one I chose for this group is about Julie. And she had a daughter named Ella, and Ella was sick with cancer. And then Julie was a yoga teacher and kind of came away from it because of her daughter's illness, because she was always at the hospital. And that made her very depressed and kind of lose sight in like her morals in life. And then once her daughter turned 2, she started doing yoga again, and it really uplifted her and made her life better and her daughter's life better for the better. And then Ella, her daughter, started doing yoga to help her with her cancer treatments, and that made her get a lot better and helped her overall well-being. So I would read that article to them, and then we talk about it and ask like if they like yoga, if they would want to try yoga, what they think about Julie or Ella, and then we can move on to actually doing yoga. So I have already pre-made yoga cards. So on the front of them, you have a picture of someone doing the pose, and then you flip it back, and there's writing on the back that tells the person giving this the name of the pose, what level the pose is, how to hold the card, because some of them you'll hold horizontal and some of them you'll hold vertical, depending on your picture. And then it also tells you the directions of the pose, and there's also bonuses on the poses. But I have it set up where it's green cards for beginner, yellow cards for intermediate, and orange cards for advanced. So what makes them different is the grading part. So the green poses are poses that the person's always going to be sitting, and they're always going to have 2 feet on the ground. And they're not going to lift their arms above their head or below their waist in these. So very beginner, very easy for anyone who has any vestibular issues or anything like that. And then the next section, the yellow cards, the person will still remain seated, but there's a possibility they might have 1 foot off the ground, and they're going to have to lift their hands above their head, their hands above their head, or their hands below their waist. And then what makes the orange cards hard is the person might not be staying in the chair. They might be getting on the ground and putting their feet on the chair. They might be standing next to the chair and using it for support, and they're moving their arms and their legs in all planes. So that's what makes them very difficult, and only for people that have a lot of active range of motion and a lot of strength. And so for the rest of the grading, so once again you have, you would start your clients with green, and you move up to the orange depending on their level, and maybe intermediate's the best for them, or maybe you start at intermediate and just see how they do, and you realize that's too hard, you can go down. So technically you're going 2 ways up, starting with green, going to yellow, going with red, or even starting with red and going down 2 ways, going with yellow, going with green. But then what gives it a nice third way is I had bonuses on some of the cards. So like on the back of this first red card, there's a bonus. So the pose is normally a bridge pose where you'd have their feet on the chair and they lift their butt up, and their hands would just be by their side. But the bonus makes it harder by them touching hands or grabbing their elbows, because that stretches out their shoulders more and gives them a better stretch. So that's what makes it another level up. And then some of my green ones have bonuses, like the hip circles, where you just sit, you put your hands on the chair, and you just move your hips around to stretch out your hips. And that one has the same thing, but you can put your hands on your hips to help stabilize you more. So it makes it a little easier and brings it down an extra level. And then for the activity analysis, everybody in this group needs a level of praxis to be able to plan their movements, because they're looking at the pictures. They have to be able to look at the picture and listen to the directions and then move their body accordingly to that. They will also need judgment to know kind of where they need to put their body and where how far they can stretch without hurting themselves. They need active range of motion to be able to move their body independently and not have somebody help them, because usually there's just one person leading the group, so there's not a lot of room for help. And then they need to have working memory and also sustained attention. So their working memory is that they can hear and see the poses and still be able to complete them and remember what they're doing and not forget. And sustained attention to, again, listen to what the person is saying and also look at the poses and be able to do them. And they also need proprioception to know where their body is in space. This way, when they're on the chair, they're not going to fall off the chair. They're not going to, the pose is going to have them maybe lift their arm up in the air, and they're going to have their arm all the way over here or all the way here, thinking that it's all the way up in the air. So overall, the chair yoga intervention is good for the clients at Danville and my specific client, because it helps with their socialization, helps with their coping skills, their mindfulness, and stretching out their joints. But it's also good for all clients. It's good for kids, it's good for adults, it's good for geriatrics, because it always helps with everyone's socialization and everyone's movement and overall health. And so normally at the end of the group, since it's tell me something good, we have the clients say something good. They say something good about their week, about that day in general, and we just go around and then we can discuss it. So for the presentation, I thought I'd say something good about my week. And I think something good about this week is that I went with friends to go pet puppies and go get ice cream. So that's something good about my week. So thank you for watching this presentation, and hopefully you enjoyed the chair yoga intervention.